Jamiroquai's JK, 56, reveals he struggled to recreate complicated, virtual insanity dance moves for advert 30 years later and had to rest his weary feet in an ice bucket. Jamiroquai's JK has impressively recreated one of the most iconic music videos of the 90s for a new non-alcoholic gin advert for Beefeater Zero. However, 30 years after creating the virtual insanity video, Jay, now 56, soon realized things weren't as smooth sailing as he struggled with the complicated dance moves and was forced to rest his weary feet in an ice bucket at the end of filming. In the new video, Jay, who was dressed in the exact Berghaus fleece and oversized hat, glided out of the famous moving room and into a night out, revealing that the thing he's been reaching for all along is a Beefeater 0%. Speaking at a Q&A at Hidden Grooves about filming the video, Jay admitted it was quite daunting being on set again, but found the whole experience remarkable.
Wet boots ruining your mornings? The job site boot dryer uses gentle, fanless heat to quietly dry boots, shoes, and gloves overnight, helping reduce dampness and odor. Want to check today's Amazon deal? Scan the QR code now or visit grabdeal.us/4 before it's gone.
I have to say, walking in and seeing the room was like a really solid flashback. It was a flashback, but just realizing that your feet are 30 years old, he said. And I must say, by the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, I did go home and put my feet in an ice bucket because they had done a fair bit of work. It was amazing, and finding the hat, I went up in our attic above the studio, where there was all sorts of stuff. It was stuffed in a corner. But it was in good enough nick in the box to be able to use it, which was an amazing thing. So sticking it on and putting the top on, and aside from the fact that his hair has got a little bit gray, aside from that, it was remarkable. Jay went on to reveal that filming was quite complicated, and he suffered a nasty 6-foot fall on the first day, but was forced to put on a brave face due to having a full day shooting ahead. He explained, "When I saw the original shot, it was also quite daunting at one point because directors were saying, 'Now you've got to be here.' And I was like, well, how am I going to get there to there?" This was actually more complicated in a lot of ways because the floor was constantly moving and trying to get at the hats and get the whole thing to flow through the rooms. I'll let you into a secret. At the end of that moving floor was a drop of about 6 feet, and I was warned. I said, no, there's no problem. Then, literally, the first thing I did was take a leg off. That was it. That was in the first minute of doing the video. We've got a whole day of shooting to do. So I sort of did that, cooled it out, and went. It didn't hurt. That's a challenge because your eyes kind of down the camera. It's quite hard to have that from a fall. The production team worked really hard though. I've done 32 music videos and they were spot on. That was a massive thing. Directed by Julian and Quentin and produced by Magna Studios, the remake sequel stays true to the analog ingenuity that made the 1996 version so memorable. Instead of relying on CGI or AI, the production team built 9 practical sets, with the illusion once again created through moving floors, carefully choreographed camera work, and physical performances led by Jay himself. The campaign forms part of Beefeater Zero's Get More with Zero platform, positioning moderation as a way to experience more rather than less. It taps into the growing trend of zebra striping, where drinkers alternate between alcoholic and alcohol-free options across a night out, framing Beefeater Zero as a companion to city nightlife rather than an alternative to it.